This is Helen, 14 years old. His dark circles fell as he hadn't slept enough. He didn't care about his messy black hair, since he didn't put much effort into tidying himself up. It's unnecessary. His seat is at the back of the classroom, next to the window. He always sits there drawing quietly, as it is like everything to him. He doesn't like to socialize with people, making him a lonely one. There was a person behind pushing to the door after school. That's Tom, who's always the victim of bullying. Not because he did anything before, it's just the dislike around him. These things happen often, and Helen is used to it. Though he does feel bad for Tom, he doesn't want to interfere. This is quite bothersome. During recess, Judy says she's missing her watch as she searches for it. Helen doesn't help her, since it's none of his business. Suddenly, someone sees something flashing in Helen's bag. "What's this?" Ben says, as he puts his hand into the bag. Takes out a watch that is trimmed with fake diamonds. Helen is very surprised to see it, as he does not know how it got there. "Ah, that's my watch!" Judy receives the watch from Ben after seeing the situation. Both of them stare at Helen with a weird glare. "It's not me," says Helen, who is still drawing on his notebook without raising his head a bit. "Yeah, right." Judy leaves the classroom with Ben as she concludes. The following day, as usual, Helen sits at his table drawing. He notices that the atmosphere didn't feel right around him. People start whispering about him, and even a few start calling him a thief. He decides not to explain himself, as he knows it's useless to do so. As time passes, Helen becomes the new target of victim for people to bully. Everything he does now is being exaggerated. He doesn't like it, but doesn't resist. He keeps the feeling in his heart, keeping silent. Till one day, Ben comes to him and snatches his notebook, with his unfinished drawings on it. "Always doing these meaningless things," says Ben as he tears down a few pages of his drawings, tearing them into pieces, wanting to see Helen's reaction. At this rate, the feeling that he had been holding bursts out. He punches Ben in the face and starts the fight. Helen isn't that powerful. However, he was beaten up in no time. Other students want to see the fight without stopping it. Some people even stomp him in the face and stomach. Right after the bell rings, everyone stops what they're doing and went back to their seats before the teacher came. Helen returns to his seat as if nothing happened. The teacher enters the room later on. "Oh my, Helen, notice! What happened?" Helen has so many visible bruises on him that the teacher notices right away after she enters the room. Everybody turns to look at him, waiting for him to give a response while glaring at him with a murderous look. "I fell from the stairs, miss," Helen replies as the glares disappeared. After returning home from school, his parents also ask him what happened, and he responds with the same answer. The blue jacket he is wearing covered in bruises other than those on his face. His parents believe without doubts. Usually when Helen's parents ask how he was at school, he'd always say fine. He even lied about making a lot of friends, living happily every day. Helen refused to tell his parents the truth, since he didn't want to make his parents worry about him. A few months later, he had gotten used to the negative comments about him, and getting hit or humiliated had been a normal event for him. He's completely immune to those things right now. Who framed him in the first place? Why would the culprit do this? This doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters anymore. "Hi, you there." Helen received a message from an unknown user on Facebook. "Who are you?" he replies. "Tom, your classmate." Tom had never interacted with him before. This surprised him a bit. "What is it?" Helen says. Are you alright?" "It's none of your business," Helen concludes Tom's question. Tom types for a while before coming up with, "Listen, I know how you feel right now. You're in the same situation I am. I really want to help you, but I can't. Sorry." Afterwards, Tom and Helen text each other for a long time, and Helen feels much better after telling him all the pain and feeling he had been through. He can even tell him jokes around Tom, often using a smiley face to show his happiness. This is the first time he thinks he's made a friend. It is warm weather in the afternoon. "Come meet with me on the roof in the first period in the afternoon. We need to talk. Don't ask me why," texted Tom last night. Following his instructions, Helen meets Tom on the roof, waving his hand and walking towards him as he says, "Hey Tom, what's up, friend?" I have something to say. Something important," says Tom with a serious face. "Remember the watch thieving incident?" How could Helen forget about it? That was how he started suffering. Helen nods to show that he remembers. I was the culprit. Tom looked down, scared, the look in his eyes. What? Helen is shocked. I stole Judy's watch and framed you as the culprit. Why would you do this? With you as the new target of the victim, my life is better. Tom smirks. It's true, however, that when everyone decides to bully Helen, they wouldn't bother Tom anymore. He's just an abandoned toy. For him, that is totally perfect. As long as he keeps silent, he will be able to live his school life safe and sound. He succeeded. The plan was outstandingly perfect. Helen grabbed the collar of his shirt, and after pushing him around a bit, they ended up near the edge of the roof. Tom slips and falls from the roof. Helen instantly grabs his hand and tries to pull him back up, but Helen does not have the strength to do so. I'm so sorry, Helen. Tom falls. Helen closes his eyes, scared, as to look at what had happened. He cannot imagine what happened to the one after falling from a 6-story tall building. After the policemen arrive, they have an interview with Helen, who's too terrified by the incident, however, to say even a word. Once again, Helen becomes the topic of discussion between students. Some people think Helen's pushed Tom off the roof, but most of them think that Tom committed suicide, and Helen failed saving him because they saw him grab Tom's hand before he fell. That night, Helen was in his room crying, shivering, and could not stop the guiltiness from growing inside of him. He needed to calm down, and suddenly a thought flashed in his mind. It's not your fault that Tom died. He deserved to die. That makes him feel much better, and his guiltiness fades away too. Helen creepily smiles. Tom had his punishment. I suppose this time, for others, to have theirs, isn't it? His cries turn into laughter in the dark. Helen's classmates decide to have a party on the day of Halloween, but it's not to celebrate Halloween, it's just to have their friends come over to a party. Of course, Helen was not invited to the party. That night before the party of Halloween, Judy and Maggie were texting each other on Facebook. Both of them live in the school dorm, and Judy's room is right next to Maggie's. Judy, who's coming to the party tomorrow? I'm so excited. Most of our class will be there, but I texted Ben so many times, and even though all the messages I sent are read, he just never replies to me. The hell is wrong with him? He's probably working, I guess. Something weird is happening. I've been hearing footsteps coming from my door for a long time. I think someone's walking around the dorm. Wait, I'll go check. Using the hole in the door, Maggie saw something unusual. Oh my god, there's a guy outside who's wearing a mask and a blue jacket. He's holding a knife. He's all bloody. Fuck, he's knocking on my door. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Just calm down and find a weapon or something. Protect yourself. He's turning the doorknob. Good thing I locked it. I'm scared. Maggie, what should I do? Maggie, listen. Save me. Calm down, Maggie. Maggie? Maggie? You there? The message is shown to be read, but Judy doesn't seem to see Maggie's response. Suddenly, Judy hears the sounds of a door opening. The instant she turns around, she feels a terrible pain in her stomach. A bloody person who's wearing a mask and a blue jacket bursts into the room and stabs her. That night, all of her students were in the dorm were murdered. No one knows what the killer did it. The murderer used the victim's blood to paint on the walls of the dorm, most of the paintings being the face of a smiley face. Many of the corpses were being chopped and smashed, probably to get more pigments. Helen noticed the culprit is still missing currently. However, in the chat where Judy and Maggie text each other, a message was written that responded to Judy's first message at 9:03. Don't be excited about tomorrow, because there will be no tomorrow.